Here we are in a lovely sunny Canberra afternoon in Warren Entsch's office.
Thank you.
The Leader of the House on point of order.
So Warren, can you tell me what's involved with being the Chief Opposition Whip?
It's an interesting role, particularly in a parliament, a hung parliament like we have at the moment, because it's critical that for every vote it counts, and we've got to make sure that all of our members that turn up to vote, and if they don't, they need to have a great reason, usually death, that they didn't. And I have to provide the incentive, I suppose, for them to be here and the encouragement, and also deal with the aftermath if they don't. With all the legislation that comes through Parliament, we organise the lists for who's speaking, we do the programs for the day so that right from when the Parliament opens to when it rises, people have the opportunity of speaking if they want to speak on particular legislation, but make sure that they turn up on time. We organise, we have control of the party room. We organise the party room functions and that sort of stuff. So I'm a function organiser as well. So I suppose you could say I'm the Minister for Good Times. I also have a range of other things. If people got problems, they come in and see me. It's making sure that the team is working together. It goes right across the whole spectrum, and I give direct advice to the Leader's office. I also have to work very closely with my counterpart, the Chief Government Whip. I have responsibility for pairing arrangements, so that if somebody can't be available for a particular vote, the government has to ask me to take one of our members out of the chamber for that vote, and we've got an agreed protocol and a set of circumstances that we will agree on, and others we negotiate. Sometimes it's a little controversial. But what it does require is making sure that my office and myself personally and Joel and his office work very closely together, because if we started to have any level of conflict, the Parliament would shut down. You see all the conflict in the chamber, but it is possible to have friends on the other side of politics. We don't have to agree with each other, but yes, and we've been good mates. And most of my whip's job responsibilities are during the parliamentary sitting period, which allows me to focus on my electorates during the periods when the Parliament's not sitting.
Canberra's a long way from Leichhardt. How do you represent your constituents when you're down here in Canberra?
It's actually easier for me to get difficult problems solved while I'm in Canberra. And because the ministers are here, their offices are only across the ministerial wing, which is only not far from my office here, and it provides an opportunity for me to either go down to their office, and if they're not taking visitors, I grab them when there's a division on or something. I'll go and sit with them in the chamber and grab them and raise it. And a very good example was only yesterday, where I had a young family where the young mum, who was of PNG origin, and her son, who was born to an Australian citizen, only a youngster, only a few months old. It meant that the young mum, and this young baby had to go back to PNG, and there was a serious risk associated where they had to go. And it was of great concern to me. I started a process which meant that as soon as I was in Canberra, we organised to meet with the Minister. I organised for my office to make sure that they let the department know that it was my intention to see the Minister and I was going to raise hell. And within 24 hours we resolved the problem. And you don't get that access unless you're in this place. I think the combination of being here and back my electorate is very, very important to getting the positive outcomes for my constituency.
After all these years, what do you still enjoy about coming down to Canberra?
I have two families. I've got my Cairns family, of course, which I love dearly, but I come down here, I've got a Canberra family as well. I mean, that involves my staff and some of my colleagues.
Warren Entsch is one of those unusual characters of the Parliament, but I'm yet to meet anyone with a greater passion for our tourism industry, and in particular for the development of the North.